Hello, in this video we're going to go through how to use basic solve on your calculator. So first of all, if you come across this main menu screen, we just go to new, or you can go to current if you like. I'm going to go to new, and it'll always ask you if you need to save your unsaved document. Don't press yes, otherwise you're going to have a lot of saved useless documents, so just go no. All right, we're going to just go to Add Calculator. Here we can do any calculation, so we're good to go. Now, when you're working with just equations you need to solve, we're just going to Algebra and then Solve. Okay, pretty simple. So if I wanted to solve an equation 5x plus 2 equals -8, on my calculator, I type that equation in as it's seen in the book or on a sheet or whatever, but you must always do comma x. If you don't do comma x, your calculator will tell you something like this. And you're like, oh, what have I done? It's usually you've forgotten the comma x. So don't forget the comma x, and it tells you the answer. You can do that for any equation, linear equation. You will notice I just typed in solve, so you can type in solve just using the keyboard down here, but it's probably easier to go to menu, algebra, solve. Okay, so let's type in another one. So if you wanted to do an algebraic fraction, you can go Control Divide and then type it in. And oh, I don't want to get a funny answer. Let's just see what I can do. So if I do 9. Oops, yeah, doesn't matter that I got that answer, but because you're just seeing how to use the calculator. Now, if you wanted, say, oh, I made just a small error, instead of just going and rewriting the whole thing, as I just did, you could go back up, press enter, and you'll get it back down. So I typed in 9 instead of 8. Okay, so you just scroll up, press it again, and there it is. Another thing you need to remember is if there's no solutions. So let's do 8y. Okay, so see how I've done comma x, and you're like, oh, but x should just be a number. That's because you've got two variables, your x and your y, and you're making x the subject. Okay, so that's why it's giving you the answer as x equals. Now, in Year 10 maths, we want to sometimes, oops, what did I just do? Did I do anything? We want to make y the subject, so we can do comma y, so it's y equals. So sometimes when we need to graph an equation, we want to put it as y equals something. Now, in simultaneous equations, there's two ways, or well, there's many ways of doing it on your calculator, but I'm just going to show you two. Now, I always like solve, okay, because you can always put in any equation. So let's say we had 3t equals s plus 2. So that's one equation, and let's say our other equation is s equals 1. And we're solving for, and you only have to type in one of those variables, so comma s, so t equals 1, s equals 1. Now you could do it this way, menu, algebra, solve system of equations, solve system of linear equations. When you get, sorry, Mr. McClellan's just emailed me, a number of equations. Okay, we're just working with 2, so leave that as 2, and your variables, it'll just default to x, y. In this case, I've used s and t, so I'm going to change that to s and t. Okay, and then we'll type in what we've got there. So the same thing. Just make sure I've typed it in correctly. S equals 1. So some students prefer this method. I prefer this method because I just use it for everything. This method here, just got to make sure your variables are the same. Always stick to the same variables. Don't think, oh, my calculator is using X and Y. I'll go use X and Y, but the question might have S and T. So if you give your answer as X and Y, it's actually wrong. So just make sure you stick with those. Now, it'll also give you this answer, like a set of coordinates. So you just need to remember that this order here is ST. So this is going to be ST. What you could also do is graph your equations. So if I just go up here, okay, so I'm just going to, I could have done it from this part, but I'm going to put it down here. Now I've got y equals 5x minus 2 over 24. And remember, I rearranged that using solve here. Okay, so I told it to do comma y, so that's why it's gone from this form to this form. Okay, it's transposed the equation for me. When I want to graph it, it's good to have in the y equals form, because when we're graphing, and watch what I'm doing here, I'm adding a page, so control add page, add your graphs. Okay, so I've got my normal calculator screen and now my graph screen. What you need to do to navigate that is just press control left or control right, or you can just move your cursor and press them. Okay, oh, and I didn't tell you what I did. Okay, so I've just made an error there anyway, so I'm going to press Control Z. Okay, so if I go back, it's deleted it, it's undone it. So on your keyboard, you know how you use Control Z to undo something? I just did that. Okay, so what I need to do is just, I wonder why the y equals come up. Okay, oh, go away. So I just want that part there. So I'm going to press Control C for copy. Let's see if it works this time. Okay, so it didn't have the y equals part. So I only want this part here because this F1 means function in terms of x. And that's the same really as y equals for now. Okay, so there's my equation. There it is on my graph. So we can do a few things with this, but one thing I want to show you right now is a table of values. So if you go Control T, it'll give you a table of values. So if you ever have to set up a table of values, instead of continually substituting in values, you can just draw your graph and do Control T. To get out of this split screen, just press Control T again, and I'll get rid of the table. Okay, there are other features of the graph that you can find, but I'm just going to leave this video here so we don't go for too long.